What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. This is episode number 14. We're starting today's stuff on the back of our draw with Everton 1-1, our first game of St Mary's this season. We're a bid for Smallbone, our Irish midfielder who we're trying to sell. Once again, reasonably unrealistic deal there from PEC as well. I don't know why Championship and Football League sides barely put bids in for your fringe players when you're trying to sell them. It's very strange. But even so, with around 36 to 37 million remaining on transfer deadline day, well, I talked about it, start the season off, not the best start for the Saints, 4 points from 9. Whilst we have had our first scalp of the series in the Premier League, I still have only 3 goals in our opening 3 games, and being held to scoring none on the opening night, I thought we might need some more creativity or firepower. And when I saw the Borussia Mönchengladbach put in a bid for this young midfielder, I said no, he's staying in England. Yep, relegated with Crystal Palace last season. I said I was going to raid Patrick Vieira's side for a couple of their players. We signed Mark off them midway through the season. And Ebrechi Eze is going to stay in England, return to the Premier League, and move to Southampton. Yeah, for 31 million plus a 10% sell-on clause and Stuart Armstrong in the deal as well. It's a pricey transfer fee. It's a new club record signing. But I've used Eze a couple of times, and let me tell you, this guy, when he's fit, when he's healthy, he's an absolute baller. If you've watched Eze play, and I've seen him play a few times for QPR, and also Crystal Palace as well, when he gets the ball at his feet, he's so exciting. And of course, Armstrong was going to go at the end of the season regardless. Stuart Armstrong, 31 years old now, out of contract at the end of the season. I like him as a squad player, don't get me wrong, but now we just signed Oxlade-Chamberlain. We still got De Silva. We still got Aribo. The fact of the matter is, he wasn't getting any game time last season. Now that Eze's coming as well. So I thought the deal was quite realistic there. Armstrong going to Crystal Palace, dropping down to the Championship, and Eze coming in as part of a swap deal. I'm delighted with that. I must say, you know, in this Southampton team, I was thinking, where do we play Ebrechi? Now, Eze spent time playing on the flank, just in behind. That's where he's best, in my opinion. And also can, if required to do so, operate a little bit deeper. And you know, with these Saints here, we play a 4-4-2, but our midfielders are basically defensive midfielders. James Ward-Prowse is what you call a deep line playmaker, and Diao is the anchor man in this team. Ebrechi Eze, I mean, are we really going to get the best out of him playing deeper? I mean, he's such a creative player. He plays with so much flair. I mean, you know, sitting deeper in this team, I don't really think he's going to be very effective. I had to show you this here. Well, you know, realism is the name of the game in this save. I mean, he had a good goal-to-game ratio last year, but I can't see this deal coming off, can you? Che Adams wanted by Xavi's Barcelona. Yeah, I just couldn't see it, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I mentioned before, like if a big club puts in a bid for one of our players, I'm happy to let them go, but it's got to be realistic. You know, if it was like a Manchester United or, you know, like an Arsenal, for example, I'd be happy to sell him. But Barcelona, I just can't see it personally. But even so, we had a bid here for Aribo from Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa with 2 hours left on the clock. I decided to negotiate an 11.5 mil bid for the former Rangers and Charlton midfielder just because he doesn't play very often in this team and it might be best to let him go now for more consistent game time. But the deal never went through because there wasn't enough time. So Aribo will be staying here. As the transfer deadline day slams shut, as you can see for the window, so many clubs making so many moves. And for us, Armstrong, Lyanco and Ray are leaving for a combined total of just 18 mil. But the spend this season as Pedri goes to Milan, Sane goes to the San Siro, and Victor Osimhen is now in the Premier League at Old Trafford. £100 million spent by Southampton in this summer window. Well, the board gave us the monster budget. We decided to reduce it slightly by offering big contracts to our current players and also improving our scouting team as well. I think I made the right decision doing that for realism. And again, because of the takeover they had this season in real life and their targets of being a Champions League side, qualifying for European football this year with the Europa League as well, a cup final last season too, and a young and developing team with a couple of star players, I could see why the budget was given to us, and for £100 million, I'm pleased with how the squad has, been built for this season. I mentioned before, well, we had the budget at the start of the campaign, I didn't want to spend all of the 115 to 125 mil we had after the sales went through as well. I just felt it would be a little bit too unrealistic, and I could see a club spending around 100 million if they've got the cash, but I also wanted to make sure that the signings we'd make would be realistic too. So we sent our scouts here to England, Ireland, and also the Netherlands as well, not too far away from Southampton, of course, as we're looking for nations that are in close proximity of St Mary's as well. I like the fact that the team has remained quite realistic in terms of the signings. With 115 mil, I could have signed a couple of really class European players from big teams, but instead, if you look at the team we've got here for Season 3, playing in the Europa League, a growing and developing Southampton team, I like how it's still realistic. We haven't blown the squad up and signed some world-class players and great wonder kids. Davinson Sanchez coming in, Jordan Pickford coming in, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain returning on a free, a Brechi Eze from a recently relegated Crystal Palace side, and then Tosin Adarabioyo from Fulham, and Lewis returning, whilst Minamino coming back after a loan spell here a few years ago. To me, 6 new signings, and I think it's been the best I could have done it in terms of realism, but also improving the side just slightly in terms of quality as well. I like it. I'm really happy with it. I really, really am. 4.5-star team is how we remain. That's how I want us to stay for now. I don't think we're capable of becoming a 5-star team and challenging for Premier League titles yet, not even close to it. I wanted this series to remain as realistic as possible. When you look at the team here, again, Pickford coming in from an Everton team, making that step up to playing European football in the final year of his contract. Davinson Sanchez coming back to the Premier League, much more realistic than playing for Athletic Bilbao. Minamino, a fringe player at Liverpool, had a loan spell at Southampton, now back here. The Ox returning after all those years playing for Arsenal and Liverpool on a free transfer as well. I really like it. I really do. It is so hard to keep teams realistic as the years go by. When you think about how the Southampton team has grown and developed together, and the fact that we're in Europe now, so we are capable of signing a better calendar of players, yet still not star players, and it's remained realistic. That, to me, was the key for this series, and I'm really happy that 3 seasons in, I look at this team, we're now playing European football, yet the team we've got is still very realistic indeed. I really, really like that. Still, first and only game of today's episode outside the transfer window, Arsenal away at the Emirates Stadium, and heading into the game 13 minutes in, a lovely team goal saw us open the scoring as we went a goal up from Barcelona target, Che Adams. Yep, much more realistically stays here than goes to the Catalan Giants. Che Adams puts us in front, but I'll be honest here, it's a nice team goal, it's a nice build-up, but for Aaron Ramsdale, I think the former Blade should have stopped that one. Shot in the near post was quite tame, didn't have much power, it was accurate, but very late reaction from Ramsdale. And Adams gets his second goal in 2 games to open the scoring. So we lead by a goal at the Emirates, and I was thinking, okay, alright, we beat Spurs away in North London for our first and only scalp of this series in the Premier League. Why not Arsenal as well? 33 minutes in, the Gunners trying to get back on level terms. What a save by Jordan Pickford in from Everton, making a fine stop with his left arm, keeping it at 1-0, and we led at the break, just like we did away against Spurs. And with half an hour to go, just like against Conte's side, playing really slow tempo football, not forcing the issue. A good stop by Ramsdale kept it at 1-0. But I'll be honest here, I felt it would have been a better team in the game and deserved to be leading by 1. With 15 minutes to go, the Gunners trying to find their level here and Stormers getting our second win of the season. Guendouzi holds onto the ball, plays a great through ball to Martin Odegaard. Fantastic slip ball to split the defence. But once again, it's Jordan Pickford. Kept a clean sheet last time we were in North London against Spurs. Looking to get another one here as he kept it at 1-0. And with 7 minutes to go, still leading by 1. Great chance to double the lead and surely wrap the points up. Johnson cuts to the cross and Gareth Bale takes it around Tomiyasu and fires it just over the bar. And at this point, it was all hands on deck, man. Still leading by 1. Desperate to hold on to our second win of this season. And both coming in North London and scalps against Arsenal and Spurs as well. 2 minutes to go in the game. Aaron Ramsdale, you've just had an absolute shocker. We talk about goalkeepers in this year's FIFA and how they're so inconsistent and error prone. And I love this celebration. Gareth Bale, bit of a Spurs icon. What does he do? Scores a 35-yard dagger against the Gunners, puts his hands to his ears and celebrates in front of the travelling Southampton fans. But for Aaron Ramsdale, I mean, what a signing he's been for Arsenal. Could we just say that as well? You know, when he came in, question marks over him being a long-term successor for Bernd Leno. But I think he's done a sublime job in his first season. You know, coming in from a relegated Sheffield United side who last season, of course, as we know, shipped goal after goal after goal. You know, question marks, is he good enough at this level? You know, can he get better? He's still such a young goalkeeper and handle the pressure of being a long-term success for Leno. Ramsdale's done a brilliant job, and every Arsenal fan will tell you they're happy to have him between the sticks. He's got so much passion out of Ramsdale, I love it. But in this game, I'll be pleased to know he had a bit of a shocker. Should have saved the first shot, then threw the ball straight to Gareth Bale as he tried to launch a quick counter-attack for a second. 35-yard Bale volley wraps up the points, and there it is for Southampton. Wouldn't you just know it? Like London buses, typical playing in North London. We waited so long for a scalp, none in 12, and then 2 come along at once. Both in North London against Spurs and then the Gunners as well. 2 wins from our first 4 games, just a 1 defeat as well. It's not been a perfect start, but a lot to celebrate after what has been a reasonably successful but pricey summer transfer window. But that will end today's episode of the Realistic Career Mode, guys. Big fan of watching, enjoyed it, like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of the Realistic Career Mode very soon.